Okay, so this is Pastel and Scarn, and they had 2 chicks. The first one hatched out and the third one hatched out, and then nothing else. So this is the nest where there was room for Malachite and Lava's baby. He is the middle chick in this nest. There is no one so much bigger than him that they're going to crush him. And I'm going to start boosting them with calcium. So he's the one that's laying flat. And if you look closely at his foot, he has a broken knee, which is from being crushed when you have weak bones. So the thing about this is that okay, Missy, I'll get out. Is that he is so young and they grow and change so fast that a few days of calcium boost could turn him completely around and he could come out pretty normal. I don't know what kind of damage there is to the joint, or if it is indeed damage to the joint, or maybe it's just above or below the knee, I can't tell. But even if he ended up with just one good leg, he'd be fine. So we want to salvage his little thing and make sure he doesn't suffer from having great big giant brother sitting on him all the time. So when you get to these big birds, you have to watch what's going on. The calcium thing becomes an issue. Feeding becomes an issue. You just can't leave them with too many babies or problems can arise. So hopefully he'll make a recovery. He's chick number 2, as you can see. Second chick, Lava's number 3. So that means he's Lava's third born, but he's the second chick in this box. So hopefully in the next week or so, we'll see him turn everything around, and that will be good. So a lot of stuff has been happening here. A lot of nests have finished hatching out. So these 2, baby number 4 never came, and I had fostered an egg from a different couple, and it never hatched either. So they just have their own 3 chicks, and 3 is the perfect number for raising babies. These pair, this is Indian Larkspur. They're the last ones to be hatching out chicks. And I had them marked down. Now I didn't cull them because I'm doing a breeding experiment with my moths. So I had them marked down for 4 embryos and 2 blank eggs. And I must have checked their nest, several times. And it, thought that that's where we were at. So she hatched out these pretty, why are you laying on your side, Nesta? A chick laying on its side instead of standing up on its knees can be a problem. So let's take him out and look. His hips look fine. Maybe his mom just pushed him over. He is little after all. Okay, back you go. No problem there. So she hatched out these 3 eggs. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take the 4th embryo and put it somewhere else. So I did. And then I candled the other 2 eggs and found out that I had 2 more embryos. So those 2 eggs left in there are blank. And all 3 of their last embryos got fostered to my little yellow girl, who's over there. She had laid 4 eggs of her own. And I moved her, I took out 4 of her eggs, and 3 of her eggs, and put those 3 in. So hopefully we'll get number 3, number 4, and number 5. Larkspur's embryos due for 3. So we're not supposed to have anything till tomorrow. This is the blue foster mom. Her first chick was Evangeline's, which is the other mauve pair. Her second chick was also Evangeline's, which was the other mauve pair. Her third chick, so Evangeline has 6 babies too, 4 in her own nest and 2 in here. And her third chick came from, Bear Grylls and Glory. Came from there, and there is a 5th. It's their 4th chick. They only have 2 in their nest. This is their 4th chick, and they have another embryo in there due to hatch tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to hatch, but we'll see. So she has 3 thriving little babies in here, which she's going to raise like the champion that she is. The oldest 2 are Evangeline's. The youngest one is Glory and Bear Grylls. The white mama over here has 2 chicks. The oldest one is Glory's number 3 chick. This one hatched out in Glory and Bear Grylls' nest and actually stayed there for a few days, but I kept a close eye on him, and I started to worry because his brothers were just getting so huge. So I pulled him and put him in here as soon as Lava's chick hatched. but this one was already 2 days old. So one of the ways that I mark whose chick belongs to who when I have to move them around is I put the tape on the nest to identify, and I never put 2 embryos in that are due to hatch on the same day or even 2 days next to each other. So this chick is 4 days old, this one is 2 days old, and this one is due to hatch tomorrow. It will be 3 days behind the second one. So let's see how these little guys are doing. And the way to tell who's the oldest one, regardless of size as they develop, is how big their tail is. Because their tails develop in different ways. Well, those 2 little guys are looking good. And they'll be joined by a friend tomorrow with any luck. And that will be Dew. This is Amazon and Dew's 4th chick. If it hatches, it will get a new piece of tape that says that her 3rd chick is Amazon and Dew's 4th chick. Okay? So yeah, surprise, surprise. They took forever to get around to it, but good old Indy here filled every egg she laid. So, alrighty then, mister. Got the job done. I've forgotten who was in here, but they didn't do anything. Oh! It was Bubba Jr. and Sif. Sif wasn't feeling well. She laid 2 eggs and stopped, and I think it was a calcium shortage. So she's out getting some calcium treatment, and I'll try her again in a month or so. So this is Crazy Girl. I'm having a brain fart. You know, this cage is not attached. Let me attach that. Hanging up. Sheesh. That's not bad. Right. Now you're hanging up. Sheesh. I gotta fix some of those screws up on the top. I managed to screw in pointing downwards, which isn't really helpful. So anyway, this is Lake, and she's in here with, forgot his name, who's a nice slate-pied male that's got some age on her, although obviously not size, but very few birds have size on Lake. And they're just going to live here for maybe a month or more until Lake figures out what she's supposed to be doing. This is Aster and Agate, and their 3 chicks have all hatched out. Her last one hatched out today, and I took out her last egg and fostered it to baby, but when I was moving it, I noticed that it looked a little dried out, and it had a tiny little dimple in it, so it might be cracked and getting ready to fail. But that's all right. We got 3 beautiful chicks from them in here, and that's good. And surprise, surprise. Here is Steel and his little girl, Hyacinth. And she laid 6 eggs, and only one of them had an embryo in it. And I was pretty sure it wasn't going to ever hatch, because it was probably due a million years ago. And guess what happened today? Just today, one teeny tiny little chick hatched out. So those other eggs are all empty, but we'll leave them in there. Give the chick something to lean on and something to keep mom up off of it. So this is, well, who is this? Nile and Flo. They had 4 embryos. 3 hatched out. And I moved the 4th embryo over to Baby and Dashites because they only have 1 chick of their own. So these little guys are thriving. And I fully expect that one to hatch out tomorrow. We already looked at Lava and Malachite's chicks. And this is Peridot and Estuary, who hatched out 2 chicks, and they had 6 embryos at one time. They hatched out 2 chicks and then nothing. We lost an embryo at the very beginning when a chick didn't make it out of the egg. And I don't know why there's a second one marked off. I can't remember, but obviously there was something wrong with it. It dried out or something. So we have 2 embryos in there that are well behind the others. One's due to hatch today, but I don't see it happening. So she's a new mom, so maybe she stayed off them for too long, too busy feeding babies or something, and they failed. So I don't know, we'll have to see. This is Amazon and Dew, who had 4 embryos and hatched out 3 chicks and have a 4th one due to hatch out over in a foster nest anytime. These guys, some babies are just big. And these babies are looking big, in spite of being quite young. So, I'm pleased with that, even though Mom and Dad are not big birds, but you never know. We have a hatch date day after tomorrow. No, tomorrow. So this is Congo and Rain, and I just did their embryo count, and they had 5 embryos in there, and I don't have a lot of cohorts to foster to, so I froze one and left them with 4. This is Thames, and she's not out here, Hydrangea. Hydrangea stopped laying eggs, which is a problem. After 2 eggs, all of a sudden she just stopped. And I could see her panting and feeling bad, and I thought, okay, maybe she's light on calcium. I seem to have that going around. So I'm giving her a calcium boost, and after 2 days, she proceeded to lay an egg that's about 1/3 the size of a regular egg. So something in her system had stopped up. And she produced this weird little egg. It had a yolk in it and white in it, but it was the size of a pea. So I'm hoping that passing that would help clear her up. Although her 2 embryos in there are well developed. So if she starts laying eggs again, there's going to be a big break. And again, I don't have a lot of places to put fosters because my fosters are already taken up with everybody else. So this is Baby and Dassite. I've opened them up a million times today, so I'm not going to. They have their own chick. The second one never did materialize. Flo's 4th embryo. This is Nile and Flo's. Should hatch out today. It's going to be green. They're both blue, so it'll be easy to tell. And Astor's 4th embryo, which has a dent in it, which makes it very unlikely, is supposed to hatch in a couple of days. But you never know. So I put it in there, and I'll keep an eye on it. If it doesn't hatch on 4/22, I'll take it out and make sure it's not rotting inside and just watch it for a few days. Maybe not. And they did have a second embryo in there, but nothing ever materialized, so I don't think it's ever going to hatch. These are my 2 Rosie Borks who are doing nothing. Just sitting here eating and getting fat. All right, be cute. That's fine. She's like a little pink tennis ball. Look at that girl. And her man is so handsome. Hey, Rosario. I just did a cull date for these 2. This is Unakite and Osmosis. They have 6 eggs. 3 of them have embryos in them, and I think that's all they've got. And their hatch date's next Friday. So things are coming along there. This is Shoe and Spring, and Spring does not like me to look in her box, so we won't, because I already did disturb them once today. So their 3 chicks are doing great, little teeny tiny things. We already looked at these 2. This is Pastel and Scarn, and they are fostering a 3rd chick, and they're going to get a calcium boost for a few days because that fostered chick that they're taking in has calcium issues. I'm going to give them every chance to get caught up. And there's Glory and Bear Grylls, who have 2 glorious giant chicks, which we just saw. And here is this little girl. This is Danube and Geyser. And Geyser's babies have kind of looked a little faltering and funny to me, but when I opened up the box today, very happily, they suddenly look perfectly normal. So, perhaps she wasn't feeling well, or she wasn't quite feeding them up enough or something, but somebody finally caught up with the story, and they're looking good. Those other 2 eggs in there are blanks. We won't be getting any more babies, but 2 is all I need. All right, you guys. Good job.